My name is Danielle Atwood. I am 32 years old. Last Sunday, my mother-in-law slid a manila envelope across the dinner table, looked at my husband, and said, "I think you need to see this." She had secretly DNA tested our 3-year-old daughter. She expected the results to destroy my marriage. What she did not expect was that those same results would destroy her. But here is what none of them knew. Not my husband, not his sister, not even his father. I had found out about the test 2 weeks before that dinner, and what I did with those 2 weeks changed everything. Let me take you back 7 years to the day I first met Patricia Atwood. I was 25. Mark and I had been dating for 4 months. He brought me to his parents' house on a Saturday in October. His mother opened the door like she was receiving a deposition. She did not hug me. She shook my hand. Firm grip, eyes already scanning. What I noticed that night, and what I filed away without understanding it yet, was how much Patricia needed to know where things came from. Not just me, everything. She asked Mark about the wine, where it was made, who recommended it. She inspected the label before she poured. She was a woman who tracked origins. I did not know then that this quality would one day be turned against my daughter, but I remember thinking, she is someone who keeps score. Mark and I got married the following June. Small ceremony, 40 guests, outdoor venue near the Connecticut coast. The first year was quiet. We rented a house in Milford, 40 minutes from Patricia and Warren. Close enough for holidays, far enough for breathing room. Except Patricia did not believe in breathing room. She showed up unannounced. Tuesdays mostly, sometimes Thursdays. She would walk in through the side door, we had given her a key for emergencies, and rearrange whatever was in reach. The spice rack, the coat closet. Once she reorganized my linen cabinet and left a note, towels by color, easier to find. I thanked her. Mark said that's just how she was. Lily was born on a Wednesday in March, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Her hair was dark, almost black. Patricia held her in the hospital room and said, "She looks just like Mark did." There was warmth in it, real warmth. For a moment, I thought, maybe this is the thing that brings us together. That moment lasted about 6 months. At 6 months, Lily's hair began to change, strand by strand, like autumn arriving. Dark brown lightened to auburn, auburn brightened to copper. By her first birthday, my daughter had a head full of strawberry red curls that caught the light like small fires. I thought it was beautiful. My mother had the same hair, her grandmother before her. The genetics were not a mystery to me. But Patricia did not see genetics. She saw a problem. At Lily's first birthday party, she held a curl between her fingers, the way someone holds evidence. "Where does that come from?" she asked, looking at Mark, looking at me, looking back at Mark. I explained. "Recessive gene, my maternal line. It skips generations sometimes." Patricia smiled her pearl earring smile. Interesting, because red hair does not run in the Atwood family. Over the next year, things shifted. It was not dramatic. Nothing Patricia did was ever dramatic at first. She was methodical. She planted seeds the way someone salts a road before a storm. The comments about Lily's hair became routine. Not every visit, but often enough. "She is so unique looking. No one on our side has that coloring. Does your family have any Irish? Maybe that explains it." I started keeping count. 14 comments in 6 months. I wrote the dates in a small notebook in my bedside drawer. Professional habit. In my work as an occupational therapist, I documented everything. Then Courtney amplified the campaign. She posted a photo of Lily on Instagram, red curls, green rompers, standing in Patricia's garden. The caption, "She is so unique looking. Wonder where she gets it." 1,400 likes. I showed Mark. He shrugged. Court is just being Court. But the extended family began to look at me differently. Warren's brother avoided eye contact at a barbecue. Cousin Ellie stopped texting. Aunt Margot started watching me the way you watch someone you're waiting to catch. None of this was said out loud. That was the point. Patricia was not building a case with words. She was building one with silence. The kind of silence that fills a room with suspicion, the way smoke fills a house before anyone sees the fire.
3 weeks after Easter, my phone rang at work. "Mrs. Atwood, this is Kelly from Genevia Labs. I'm calling to confirm that we have received a sample for analysis under your daughter's name, Lily Atwood, age 3. I set the grip down. I did not submit a sample. The submission was made under Patricia Atwood. She listed herself as the child's grandmother. However, our policy requires parental consent for minor genetic testing. Full stop. What she did is illegal. It's a violation of your daughter's privacy rights and potentially actionable in civil court." Then she said something that changed everything. "Do not confront her. Do not tell your husband yet." "Why not?" "Because if you tell Mark, he'll call his mother. She will cry, apologize, and ask him to keep it in the family. The pattern will repeat. If you want this to stop, really stop, you need to let her play her hand." I paid the $350 consultation fee. It was the best money I ever spent. That night, after Lily went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I searched DNA testing laws, Connecticut minor child. The results confirmed what Rachel had told me. Then I searched at-home DNA test kits. Patricia had used a clinical lab, but what if she had also used a consumer platform? I logged into the account Patricia had created. She had used an email I found through a password reset trick. The password was Lily's birthday. Of course it was. And there, under potential relatives on Lily's profile, was a name I had never seen. James M., age 36, Portland, Oregon. Relationship estimate, half-uncle or equivalent. Half-uncle meant one thing. James shared a biological parent with either Mark or me. Since I was not biologically connected to the platform's test, the match had to be on Mark's side. I did the math. James was born June 19, 1990. Patricia was 25. She and Warren married in 1992 when she was 27. Mark was born in 1992 as well. Patricia had a child 2 years before she married Warren. She gave that child up for adoption, and she never told anyone, except possibly Aunt Margot. Thursday, Patricia called. "Big family dinner this Sunday. I want everyone there." I said, "We will be there."
Friday, I printed the screenshots. I organized my documentation folder. Dates, events, evidence, lab confirmation, platform login records, the familial match report for James M. I backed everything up to my cloud drive and emailed copies to Rachel. Rachel, if she does it, if she presents the test publicly, that strengthens your position in any civil action. You have witnesses. I know. Are you sure you want to go through with this? You could confront her privately. I am sure. Saturday night, I gave Lily her bath. "Mommy, why does Grandma Pat always touch my hair?" I paused. "Because your hair is beautiful, baby." "Is it magic hair?" I smiled. "The most magic." Sunday morning, I dressed carefully. Ivory sweater, dark jeans, the small gold necklace Mark gave me on our first anniversary. No war paint, no armor, just me. We pulled into Patricia's driveway at 4:15, 3 cars already there. Warren's truck, Courtney's sedan, a silver Buick I recognized as Margot's. Full house. Patricia met us at the door. She hugged Mark long and firm, the kind of mothers give when they are about to do something they believe is righteous. She nodded at me, brief and efficient. The pot roast was good, I will give Patricia that. She had always been an excellent cook, one of the few things about her that was not a performance. Warren told a story about a fishing trip. Dennis laughed, Ellie complimented the gravy, but I was watching the currents beneath the surface. Courtney checked her phone every 30 seconds. Not texting, just checking the time. She was on a clock. Margot held her fork the way some people hold a railing on a bridge. Tight grip, eyes straight ahead. She ate almost nothing. 20 minutes in, the small talk had run its course. Patricia stood up. She smoothed her blouse. She cleared her throat. "Before dessert," she said, "there is something I want to share with the family." The table went quiet. Patricia walked to the hallway and returned with the manila envelope. She held it the way a prosecutor holds an exhibit, at chest level, label facing out. She set the envelope on the table and slid it toward Mark. "Open it,"
Mark looked at the envelope, then at his mother. "What is this?" Patricia placed her hands flat on the table. She had rehearsed this. I could tell because her breathing was measured. "This is a DNA test for Lily." The room contracted. I could feel it, the walls pulling inward, the air thinning. "Warren, Patricia, what the hell did you do?" Patricia did not look at him. She looked at me. "No offense, dear, but this family deserves the truth. Red hair does not run in the Atwood family, and I think Mark has a right to know whether that child is really his." The sentence landed on the table like a brick through glass. Mark stared at the envelope. His hands were steady, but his jaw was working the way it does when he's deciding between silence and something irreversible. "Open it," Patricia said again. She was smiling. She believed, truly deeply believed, that the contents of that envelope would prove her right. Mark picked up the envelope. He broke the seal. He pulled out a stack of pages. He read the first page in silence. 15 seconds passed, maybe 20. Long enough for Patricia to shift her weight, long enough for Courtney to stop breathing. Mark looked up. "She is mine." Patricia blinked. "What?" "Probability of paternity 99.9998%. Lily is my daughter." The smile on Patricia's face fractured like ice on a windshield, still in place but no longer holding. "That cannot be right." Mark set the papers down. He looked at me for the first time since Patricia had stood up. "The results are correct, Patricia." My voice was level, the same voice I use when a parent asks if their child will ever walk normally. "I know because I called the lab 2 weeks ago when they contacted me to verify parental consent that you never obtained." The room shifted, not a sound, a vibration, the kind you feel in the floor before a train arrives. "But that's not the most interesting thing in those results," I said. "Keep reading, page 4. Mark flipped through the pages and reached the familial match report. He read aloud slowly. "Potential familial match, James M., age 36, Portland, Oregon. Relationship estimate, half-uncle to Lily Atwood." He stopped, looked at the page, looked at Patricia. "Half-uncle. That would mean he's either my half-brother or Danielle's half-brother." "He's not mine," I said. Mark turned to Patricia. "Mom, who is James?" Patricia's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Her hands gripped the edge of the table. Her pearl earring hung motionless. Even the nervous gesture had abandoned her. Aunt Margot's fork hit the plate. She stood up. "Trish, don't." 2 words and the room understood everything. Warren stood slowly. His chair scraped across the hardwood like a blade dragged across stone. "Trish, answer the question." Patricia's eyes filled. She looked at Margot. Margot shook her head. "It was before you," Patricia said. Her voice cracked, the kind that comes from a wall bearing weight for 36 years, finally giving way. "Before your father. I was 25. I wasn't ready. You had a child. You never told me. You never told Dad." Warren's hand found the back of his chair. 36 years. We've been married 34. Patricia, were you scared for 36 years, Trish? The question landed and stayed. Nobody moved. Patricia cried. Real tears this time, not the performative kind. The tears of a woman watching a foundation she had built with silence crumbling under the weight of her own scheme. For one moment, I saw her, not the Patricia who had spent 7 years questioning my daughter's DNA, but the 25-year-old girl who sat in a hospital in Hartford and signed papers and walked away from a baby she wasn't allowed to keep. I understood that girl. My heart ached for her. Then Patricia wiped her eyes and said, "This is Danielle's fault. She brought this up to humiliate me." The moment of sympathy evaporated like steam off a window. Mark stepped forward. "Mom, Danielle didn't bring anything up. You ordered the DNA test. You planned this dinner. You slid that envelope across the table. I think you need to see this." He said it slowly, the same words she had used 20 minutes earlier. "Well, we saw it." Warren picked up his jacket. "I'm going for a drive." He did not look at Patricia. "Mark, we're leaving too. Get Lily." I went upstairs. Lily was still sleeping. Red curls spread across the white pillow like small cocker rivers. I lifted her gently. She stirred, pressed her face into my neck. I carried her downstairs. The dining room was emptying. Dennis had his coat, Ellie was at the door, Margot stood by the china cabinet, frozen. We drove in silence for 10 minutes. Lily slept in the back. The highway was empty. Mark spoke first. "How long did you know about the test?" 2 weeks. About James? 8 days. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I needed you to see it for yourself. If I had told you privately, you would have called her, she would have cried and apologized and asked you to keep it in the family, and nothing would have changed. The pattern was 36 years old. I couldn't break it with a conversation. You needed to see her perform." He was quiet for a mile. "Then, she dyed her hair for 40 years. Red hair was hers all along." "I know. I have a brother, half-brother in Portland, James." He said the name like he was tasting it, testing its weight. He reached across the center console. He found my hand. He held it. He didn't let go until we pulled into our driveway. He turned off the engine. He sat for a moment. He looked at me. "Thank you for not protecting me from this." I squeezed his hand. "That's not what partners do." The aftermath unfolded slowly. Over the following weeks, Mark met James in Portland, 2 men with the same jaw, the same slightly crooked nose, 36 years of distance between them. Patricia and Warren went to couples therapy. Warren moved back home after 2 months, but he set conditions: honesty, full disclosure, and no more buried histories. Patricia agreed. She stopped dyeing her hair. It came in silver gray now, with traces of red at the temples, the ghost of the girls she had tried to erase. Here's what I know now. The people who try hardest to expose your secrets are usually the ones with the biggest secrets of their own. And the truth, the real truth, doesn't need a stage or an audience or a manila envelope slid across a dinner table. It just needs time. That's my story. A DNA test, a dinner table, and a secret that was 36 years old. If this reminded you to trust yourself when everyone else doubts you, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for being here. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.